Let's take a look at the function f of x equals negative x squared plus 4x. Let's go ahead and identify our a, b, and c values off of this function. Our a value is the coefficient in front of the x squared term, which in this case is going to be a negative 1. Our b value is a positive 4, and we don't have a constant here at the end of our function, so our value for c is going to be 0. Our first question is whether the parabola opens upward or downward. So keep in mind our a value here is something that is less than 0, or a value that is negative. So our parabola is going to open downward. And remember what that means. If we have a parabola that is opening downward, then we know we're going to have some type of max value that is going to occur at the vertex. So let's go ahead and calculate our axis of symmetry first, and then we can go ahead and find the vertex. Sometimes I'll abbreviate the axis of symmetry as AOS. And remember our formula for the axis of symmetry, we have the equation x equals negative b over 2a. We'll go ahead and plug in our values here. We have a negative 4 and 2 times a negative 1 on the bottom. This will give us negative 4 divided by negative 2, which is going to be a positive 2. So as an equation, we have the line x equals 2. Make sure that you write this as an equation, right? And we can actually go ahead and give ourselves a sketch of the axis of symmetry already on our graph. Right? We've got an x value of 2 here, so we know it's going to be a vertical line that cuts through that x value of 2. And let's go ahead and calculate our vertex. Remember that the axis of symmetry and the vertex are going to share an x value, and we need to go ahead and calculate the y value for that vertex. So we want to come back up to our function, which was f of x equals negative x squared plus 4x, and we want to go ahead and plug in the 2 for each of those x values. Now be careful here on that first term, it's only the 2 that is being squared. Think of it as you're going to be multiplying that by a negative 1 once you're done. So this is going to be a negative 1 times 4. Alright, we're only squaring the 2. And then we have 4 times 2 here is going to give us 8. So we've got negative 4 plus 8, which is going to give us a positive 4. So our vertex is going to be the point 2, 4. So let's go ahead and plot that. Now let's go ahead and find our x-intercepts, and that's going to help us draw our parabola. Remember back from earlier, when we are calculating x-intercepts, every time we're looking at the x-intercepts, we're going to have a y value of 0. So if we're working with our equation, that's going to be the same thing as setting our f of x piece equal to 0. So let's go ahead and set our equation here equal to 0. We've got 0 equals negative x squared plus 4x. And now you have a couple different ways you can approach this problem. Some people are probably going to want to factor this. And it's easier to factor if we're working with a positive x squared value. So I'm going to go ahead and add the x squared to both sides. And I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 4x from both sides as well. And I'll rewrite this so that it's in the correct order here. We've got x squared minus 4x equal to 0. Right, and we have an x term here that's in common. We can go ahead and factor out the x out of each of those terms. And we'll be left with an x minus 4. And then we can go ahead and set each of those pieces equal to 0 to solve for our x values. The first one's nice and easy. We just have x equals 0. And for the other piece, we're going to have x minus 4 equal to 0. And if we add the 4 to both sides, we'll get a second answer here of x equals 4. So those are our two x-intercepts. Let's go ahead and plot those. And now we can go ahead and sketch our parabola. Right, it's a parabola that's opening downward. It's going to go through those x-intercepts. Obviously, you could always pick a few more x values if you needed to, but that'll work for us for right now.